Anyway, speaking of which, obviously you can see right now the Zionist lobby hates me and Tucker Carlson. It is like nothing anybody has ever seen in their lives. This past year, they've really upped the ante on trying to destroy me and Tucker Carlson. The hatred is...
Yeah, it's not just you and Tucker Carlson. Shout out to everybody who is trying to fight back. Obviously, they say your name and they say Tucker Carlson's name pretty loud. They also say Nick Fuentes. Those of us who they don't know us by name, we've been affected too. So everybody's doing their work. Shout out to everybody who is involved in calling these people out, especially the people who are watching this video right now. I'm so grateful to everybody. I'm about to respond back to your comments after our tape for today because I've gotten some wonderful comments. I really appreciate everybody and just everybody's words and understanding the mission that I believe the Lord has placed me on. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Deep, it's sinister, it's evil, and they have sent virtually every foot soldier that they have available to attack us repeatedly, right? Attack us repeatedly, make videos. People, it's confusing. What is it? Is she lying? Why is she saying this? Is this the right time? It's actually getting quite boring, I think. It's a little boring. I would almost describe their strategy as blitzkrieg. I don't want to be accused of being a Nazi for
blitzkrieg. Candace, I'm sorry. It's like a running joke right now online. It's just blitzkrieg. Okay. When I heard her say it like that, I was like, pretty sure it's blitzkrieg. And then people started making jokes about it. And Nick Fuentes called it out. So to fix it, it's like, come on, girl. Like, you want to be the black girl out here doing this? Say the words right. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Okay.
Using these two German words, blitzkrieg, but it has been something like bombardment. And this morning they sent out Dinesh D'Souza after me. It was very, very convincing, Dinesh. By the way. He sent out a tweet to convince people that they shouldn't watch me. He said, "I can't comment on Candace because it's quite obviously a freak show. It's like driving on the highway and seeing a farmer having sex with a sheep. You don't want to look, but you can't look away either. The problems begin when you try to analyze it. It is what it is."
Shit.
And I love that Yashar Ali replies and says, "This is what I mean. These are the people who are supposed to be combating Candace Owens. Instead, they tweet stuff like this. Yeah, hi, Dinesh. Kind of weird, man. We cannot relate. I got to tell you, if I ever was in this awful scenario where I saw a farmer trying to have sex with a sheep, I feel very much that I could not only look away, but I could call the police, okay? So if that's kind of what you're selling, you know how like when you can't look away from bestiality? Dinesh, we want to know your opinion.
I'm pretty sure that YouTube is going to get me for that. There's like the run and stop. Like, yo, Dinesh is out of bounds. First of all, Dinesh D'Souza is not only out of bounds because of the fact that he says something like, that is, golly, how embarrassing. That is so what a foreigner would say, right? But not even a Haitian would make a comment like that. Like, to see sheep and then you want to look at the farmer with the sheep, but you don't want to look away, but you kind of look away. I've never heard of such a scenario. My father's never told me of such a scenario in this country. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you got to be a special kind of foreign, and then you run right into the stereotype like India. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, let me be careful. I love Indians. I ain't got no beef with Indians. I'm just saying the stereotype, bro. You couldn't think of nothing else to say? Okay. The reason I was looking through my papers is because it's so annoying. Because I was listening to the other day, Nick Fuentes, I know. When he did his breakdown of Tucker Carlson and the CIA and the American Conservative Party, how they basically run that too, Dinesh D'Souza came up. Dinesh D'Souza took money from Irving Kristol, who was part of the CIA to make the neocon movement start. Dinesh D'Souza took that kind of money for his Dartmouth review that he started in college. I think he went to Yale or Harvard, don't quote me. But these are the kind of people who are already just like they're already placed into these agendas. So he'll say now, like, I don't take money from Israel. Yeah, but you got your start from CIA money, and you should not be listened to. Nothing that comes out of his mouth you should pay attention to, or you should like let soak in. You can hear it. I'm not going to tell you to not listen, not hear what he's saying, but don't let it soak in. Just even if somebody says something you like, because that's where he got his start from. He just does.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It literally.
Oh, hold
on his support for Israel. Let's not forget, we already know the answer to this is yes. So looking at this hindsight 2020 really is something. Take a listen.
If he is or if he was going in a direction that Candace Owens and others say he was going in, very, very simple point. Would he have had on me and our friend Rabbi Pesach Walicki literally the night before his death to spend an entire hour talking about how to respond to anti-Israel talking points? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It literally simply does not make sense. His heart was absolutely in the right place. Again, he was trying to navigate kind of some very choppy waters, though.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Charlie was just on the phone looking for talking points, trying to navigate some choppy waters with how he was going to address these kids that had some questions about Israel. He was unflinching. But he gratefully had Josh Hammer's book and wanted to go through it and make sure that he remembered everything. Now, this is probably also a great time, referring to that little conference call they had, whatever it was, a Zoom call, to tell you that Rabbi Walicki, was also on the now infamous text chain. So this means that both of those individuals knew exactly where Charlie was at on the topic of Israel and how he felt leading up to that moment of his death. And again, like I said, 2 weeks before that, in the Hamptons, they knew where he was at. Tucker Carlson told you the truth on his stance on Bibi Netanyahu. Nobody wants to address or answer the question of whether or not, when Bibi Netanyahu invited him to Israel, what the context was of that. Do you think that guy who's fighting a 140,000 front war because he keeps picking fights and pretending he's a victim really just has time to pick up the phone and shoot the breeze with Charlie?
Right. All right. So yeah. That is huge that rabbi was on that text chain. So that's another, what she dropped is something that is very serious, because I've heard this guy talk. After Trump, matter of fact, I'm not even going to play this one. We're going to go to the clip that I pulled up.
For his campus tour, he decided that he wanted to have a meeting. Josh Hammer was on the call, Josh, and I was on the call, and a couple of Charlie's staff to talk through Israel issues. He was really grappling with these issues. I know that he's also having meaningful conversations with people who are anti-Israel, and that's fine, and he's going to do that, and that's all part of who Charlie is. He's going to expose himself to everything.
I remember right after October 7th, I was a little
out on a campus tour. Utah was the first stop on his new campus tour. And what a lot of people in Israel do not realize, or in the pro-Israel community do not realize, is that between 40 and 50% of all of the questions and challenges that he would get on these campus tours were usually about Israel. Because the campuses, of course, have a lot of anti-Israel sentiment, and Charlie was known as a supporter of Israel. So he ended up being in a position where he was defending Israel all the time. And it drove him crazy because he wanted to talk about America, but he was defending Israel all the time. So in preparation for this new campus tour, he called a meeting of a few people that he trusted to talk about Israel issues and to anticipate the questions that he would be getting, the challenges that he would be getting on this campus tour, and to make sure that he had the truth and that he could formulate answers that he was comfortable with. If Charlie had turned on Israel, why would he even bother with a meeting like that? Why would he call a meeting with a few pro-Israel friends of his to talk through Israel issues, to make sure that his facts were straight and his talking points were straight so that he could defend Israel better? If he was turning on Israel, he would have had Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson in the meeting planning to throw Israel under the bus. The entire premise of the meeting refutes that theory.
Well, the text chain doesn't. So, it's funny because the text chain doesn't. Actually, I'm going to go back. I'll go back. We'll finish off with Candace and what she had to say about that clip.
And then we're supposed to believe that he had that dramatic switch. So he went from, I'm done, to like, hey, love ya. How can I be of more service to you? And then in that exact same day, he was texting people saying they are going to kill me. On the same day that he's on this Zoom call, this is a fact, this night Zoom call, as Josh says, it was at night, or the New York Post reported, I think, right, that it was at night, that at the same time, that same day, he's texting people saying they are going to kill me.
That same night before Charlie Kirk was murdered and had been telling people he thought Israel might try to kill him, his wife Erika begged him to wear a bulletproof vest due to the death threats he'd been receiving the previous year. Given that Charlie himself thought these threats were credible enough to merit extra security, and his wife thought they were credible enough to wear a bulletproof vest, and given that he'd previously singled out Israel as perhaps wanting to kill him, we, the public, should demand an immediate and full disclosure of all of these threats and a complete investigation.
Yes, I have to agree with Sam Parker on this one. I do. We will look at this thread. I'm going to bookmark it. We will look at this thread, and from there, we will we'll go from there. We'll look at this thread in the next video that I will do, because this is what happens when you're covering this thing. Next thing you know, you're like this long amount of hours, 30 minutes, let me just see what
straight, and his talking points were straight so that he could defend Israel better. If he was turning on Israel, he would have had Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson in the meeting planning to throw Israel under the bus. The entire premise of the meeting refutes that theory.
How are you feeling about that? Now that you know that Charlie actually mentioned both Tucker and Candace 48 hours earlier, as they were trying to do what they always do, which is control who he's allowed to speak to, control who I was allowed to speak to back when I was within the Zionist movement, and waking up and realizing something was dangerously wrong when they started to try to control my voice.
Yeah, so what I'll do is now I'm going to transition to start making the second video. So, because I noticed there's some things that I didn't finish up with yet, because I didn't even get to Josh Hammer. It's just so much. It just is. And I know this girl's going to come out with something today that is going to be like, I really should plan to go live. Like, I should start going live really back on this channel again, just to discuss what Candace Owens is discussing. So this is me getting ready to transition to episode 2, guys. So stick with me. So